Today we're looking at 6 signs that your potential sparring partner might be dangerous and it's not worth doing rounds with them. Now, getting lined up with potential sparring partners can come in many different forms. It could be in the middle of class, when you're moving around from person to person, you spar with that guy, then that guy, then that guy, or it could be somebody in the gym just coming up and saying, hey, do you want to do some rounds? Either way, we have signs today. They're going to tell you, maybe this person is not the best for me doing sparring with. And you have to remember sometimes that it's okay in the middle of sparring to just be like, yeah, no, you know what? I'm not feeling this today, and just draw out, because these signs don't always come pre-sparring. Sometimes they're also going to come in the middle of the rounds. And you guys should know now that this channel, I'm trying to teach everybody how to get better, but how to also be safe. And this is one of those episodes that you really want to make sure you stick around for, because these could make the difference between you going home safe and healthy or going home with a cracked rib or concussed. And also keep in mind that the signs I'm going to give you today, the things we're going to talk about, they're not 100% true all the time, but very often to me, they are big red flags. And the first thing we're going to talk about, the first sign that I look at and I go, oh, really, do I want to do this? Is they do a different martial art. Now, that's not to say that other martial arts are bad compared to kickboxing or Muay Thai, not at all. But if I see somebody over there and they walk up to me and they're like, oh yeah, you know what? I do Kung Fu and I want to do some rounds with you. I'm like, chances are if they do Kung Fu or they do a different style of sport, they're not used or comfortable to just being in here and exchanging nice fluid techniques. They're used to being out here doing some sort of whatever the heck they do. And when they do throw, it's gonna be very, very different, very awkward. And in my experience, sparring with these guys who do different styles, it's not pleasant. It doesn't look nice and can very often lead to injury for yourself, or a lot of times when I go with them, leads to them getting injured because they try to take my head off. And after a while, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to dump you on the ground a bunch, or I'm going to hit you with a body shot and just put you down because this is getting ridiculous. So just be on the lookout for people who come up to you who do other styles, and make the assessment based on what you see after. And those will be points number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which we'll get into right now. Point number 2, and I've had so many people do this, I absolutely hate it. These are mid-round sort of things. They say, let's go light. So you're like, okay, we're going light, and then, whoa, they try and take your head off. And then 20, 30 seconds later, maybe even right after, like, yeah, let's go light. When they say let's go light multiple times, but they're not doing it, that means the pace is going to be slow and then hard and then slow and then hard. And it's going to go back and forth, back and forth. And this is very hard to read. If I'm going to go hard, I want to know I'm going hard, and I want it to be consistent the whole round. So I'm always ready. Every little movement that they do, I'm assuming it's going to be a big power shot. If we're going light, I'm going to relax a little bit more. I'm just going to play around, and I'm not really dialing my senses or my reflexes up to that 100%, because I know the person's just kind of throwing like this, and I know I have to throw back at that same pace. So when people do this, right away, be ultra aware that even if they slow down, you still need to be ready. You can still move slow, but you need to be ready to block really quick. This is something which is a pet peeve of mine, because I've had so many people do this, and you got to be on the lookout for these individuals. Warning sign number 3, they throw way too many spinning techniques. Now, this could be done in their warm-up. If you look over and you see them bouncing around, they're like whoosh, and then whoosh, and they're just spinning. Ugh. Now, that's not to say that everybody who throws spinning techniques is dangerous, but I want to point out how much more dangerous spinning techniques are. Even for somebody like myself, I don't throw spinning techniques a whole lot in the rounds, because I know even with my skill level, it can just take one little split second where I come around, I lose focus on the person, I don't see them, I go to throw my technique and they've rushed in, and maybe they clash into my elbow. Or I go to throw something and I go up at head level and I'm like, okay, their hand's there, oh shoot, it's not there anymore. And it's just more dangerous. In addition, if they're throwing so many spinning techniques, Their priority is there, and they probably haven't got comfortable with the basics. And the basics are what need to have control behind them as well. So in my experience, people who throw a lot of spinning techniques lack control in the basic areas. If you come in and you tap them with a jab to the jaw and they get hit, they're gonna fire back very flaily, and it's gonna be more power than needs to be. You could just touch them with like 10%, but they're gonna come back with 50. Because again, their priority has been on those spinning techniques, which they keep throwing over and over and over. So watch out for those people. Again, this is not true for every person, but most times. And before we move on to the last 3 points of this episode, the warning signs that we want to be on the lookout for, I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode, Bioptimizers, and their magnesium product, which is keeping my body going. As I start to get a little bit older as an athlete, I find this stuff makes a world of difference. When I stop taking it, I feel like, oh, I'm just so tired. I have more trouble sleeping, but my body also just feels so much more sluggish. I take these at night before bed. When I'm in training camp, I wake up in the morning, I take a couple as well, and I feel so much better. Keep in mind that when I was in my 20s, my times at the track and such were really good, but now they're just as good once I started taking this stuff again. The fatigue has gone away and I'm able to get those record times back. You want to get on this product, you can head over to magnesiumbreakthrough.com/Gabriel, use that promo code Gabriel10, and remember, this is going to help your body, but it's also going to support the channel because Bioptimizers has been an amazing sponsor of this whole channel, and they're helping keep it going and allowing me to pump out a video per day. Back to warning signs for sparring. Number 4, they are self-taught. Now, that's not to say that people on my channel, especially the guys right now who have messaged me saying, oh, I'm pretty much self-taught and I'm learning a lot of stuff from your videos. That's not to say that everybody is going to be dangerous, but remember, if they're self-taught, they probably have not done a lot of work with other people, and they're going to be a little bit more nervous when they get in for sparring, and you have to be extra careful with these people. Again, you can always make assessments. They could have every red flag checked off on the list that I said today, and they could come in and be a great sparring partner. But these are just the warning signs which I have noted, which I want you to be aware of. So if they say they're self-taught and they don't have a gym they're affiliated with, be on the lookout in that first round for any shots that might be very dangerous. If it doesn't come in the first round, then you're probably okay. The next thing I want to talk about is they look stiff, they're rigid, and because of that, they lack fluidity. So instead of being able to flow from one technique to the other, it's very stiff and it's and this means that when they hit, everything's locked and they're going to have a lot of concrete impact, and they're not going to be able to stop. When you're not fluid, you're not able to just pull shots. When you're rigid, you follow through. You don't have that ability to pull the same way. So be very aware. If you see somebody warming up in their shadow boxing and they look like they just have no fluidity in them, they're not relaxed, then it might be somebody who could leave you hurt after the rounds. The last warning sign that I want to talk about, which most of you guys know, but you still will not stop sparring with these people, they're way too big. Why are you sparring with somebody who is 50 pounds more than you? Let's talk about my general rule of thumb right now when I go in for good rounds. Rounds against people who are sort of at my skill level. How big do I allow them to be? Because remember, if I weigh 100 and let's say 60 pounds and I throw my jab, and then somebody comes in and they weigh 200 pounds and they throw their jab, we're probably going to have equal power if I throw my jab at like 60% and he throws his jab at 40%. So he might come in and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go light. I'm going to tap out my jab at 60%. But to me, that's more like 80 or 90. And I'm going, what the heck is he doing? He thinks he's going light, but he's not for somebody my size. So my general rule of thumb is I don't spar with anybody who's more than 20 pounds above me nowadays. If you're at 175 pounds, 180 pounds, that's the cutoff. Unless I'm just doing fun rounds. If I'm just going in with somebody who doesn't have any of the warning signs we're talking about today, and we're just playing and we're just having fun, then that's okay. But if these guys are bringing up the intensity, It's a little bit more at stake in the rounds. Why do I want to put myself through more impact against somebody who's so much bigger? And you have to remember that if you're the bigger guy, you need to tone things down. If I spar with somebody who's even 10 pounds less than me, I notice the size advantage, and because of that, I draw my power back substantially. Stop sparring with bigger guys unless it's just fun rounds. If somebody comes over to you and they're like, hey dude, you want to spar? And you're down here, you're like, no, I'm good today, man, thanks. I stick with people at my own size. That is okay to do because it's so easy for them to injure you, and they don't realize they're going to injure you because they're so much bigger. So those are my warning signs of people you should look out for to make sure you don't leave those rounds with sore legs, bruised body, banged up head. We want to eliminate all of that. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please give it a like. Remember to head over to the Bioptimizer's website, link in the description below, and pick up some magnesium for yourself to take care of your body, but also support the channel. If you have not already, get subscribed. Train hard, guys. Stay safe. I'll see you back here soon for another episode.